The room was silent, but for one voice, as students and teachers watched as their peers recited poems from classic poetic authors. This week, Burlington High School held their annual Poetry Out Loud contest at the Fogelberg Performing Arts Center. The event is a national recitation contest where students must memorize poems to advance to the finals in March.
Poetry Out Loud is a national poetry recitation competition, and this is our 12th year doing it at Burlington High. Every student in their English class chooses a poem, memorizes it, and recites it in their class. And then from there, they pick 2 winners in every classroom who go on to the semifinals. After that, we pick 1 winner for each period and 1 wildcard winner, and we have 8 finalists who come here. So teachers and students have been working on it for about a month. There's a lot that goes into it, and the Huntington Theater in Boston runs a statewide competition where our finalist from today will go in March.
Every BHS student is required to do poetry out loud in their English classes, but only a selected few make it to the finals.
In English class, the teacher says, okay, it's poetry out loud time. They have usually a week or so to go through the poems on the site and pick a poem of interest to them. We hope it's something that means something to them as personal. And then they spend at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, working with that poem. They annotate it, they create tone maps to figure out how they should recite it, what the language means to them, and where they're going to pause and all that. Then after that time of preparation, they recite in their own classes, and then last week we had the semifinals. So the finals only had 1 week to prepare a second poem.
There were 8 students who made it to the school finals this year, but only 1 could come out on top.
You have to do it in the freshman year through senior year. And the first year I made it to semifinals, and from there I realized that it wasn't as bad as what I made it seem like, so then I continued to keep trying on. I mean, it was good because last year I did my poem and I had to restart it. So this year was the redemption year, and I didn't think I was going to win. I just wanted to have accuracy, I guess.
Zion had to practice 2 different styles of poems, one for the first round and another for the second.
The first poem I did was Here by Josh Mahegan, and it just reminded me of how I'm going to come back here, when I go off to college, and everything's going to be the same, and I'm going to be like, oh, everything is the exact same, but the things that are changing is not what's around me. It's the people, it's the house, it's all that stuff. And then the other poem was about a man's father who had passed away. And he was talking about the different ways of dealing with grief, and it really spoke to me.
One of the biggest fears of performing during Poetry Out Loud is making a mistake and having stage fright.
Very scary, but once you do it, you kind of black out and you don't remember anything. Half the time I leave and I'm just like, did I even say my poem? That's about it.
Yeah, it's not easy because, you certainly have students who are into poetry, but the majority of students are not. So I think what's nice about Poetry Out Loud is it forces students to read through quite a few poems and find something that they think is meaningful. Some choose it based on the line length or if it's easy to remember, but most of them really find something that means something to them. The part about being on stage, that's nerve-wracking for anybody, I think. Some are more familiar with the stage than others, but for the most part, they have to get their nerves out, practice on the microphone. We have a few meetings to get them settled. But it's hard. That's hard work to get up there for students.
Finally, poetry means something to everyone.
I hope that everybody takes away an enormous love of poetry, who shares, I have a huge passion for poetry, and to see people on stage reciting words, bringing them to life, I really hope that students get something out of that they don't just look at poetry as words on a page, but something that's really meaningful and powerful.
From the Fogelberg Performing Arts Center, I'm Robert Paris for B News Weekly.